Please do sit down. As Vice-Chancellor of the University, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this afternoon's ceremony for the School of Creative Arts. And may I introduce the platform party and welcome on my right Professor John Senior, who's the Pro-Vice-Chancellor for Research and International, and on my left Judy Glasman, who's the Dean of the School of Creative Arts. Miss Alison Wenham was due to attend this afternoon's ceremony to receive an honorary degree of Master of Arts, but she's unfortunately unable to attend. May I, though, right at the outset, welcome all the graduates and all the people who have come to support our graduates to this ceremony, and please, I do hope that you have a most enjoyable afternoon. Now, with Miss Wenham's absence, it allows me a few moments to say some words to you. And I wanted to do so by reflecting on an article which I read this year in The Economist. It was in The Economist on July the 12th, and the headline was, "Today's young people are alienated, unhappy, violent failures." Well, fortunately, my mood cheered when I read the article because it demonstrated just how wrong this statement was. Indeed, the young people of today are drinking less, they're taking less cannabis, they are being convicted very much less often. Indeed, the numbers of convictions have gone down from 100,000 in a year to less than 28,000 in a year. Believe it or not, they're more polite. A government survey of those born in the early 1990s has clearly demonstrated that they're more polite than those coming before. They smoke less and they are substantially less prejudiced. Now, for those of you sitting directly in front of me, and I include myself in this as a parent, I think we parents should take the credit for this. We've obviously been much better at parenting than those of previous generations. But we also hear employers say that graduates are not what they used to be. Now, Nestor in the Iliad said that the soldiers weren't what they used to be, and people have been saying that previous generations aren't, that subsequent generations aren't as good as they were ever since. It is, of course, utter nonsense. Employers sometimes refer to English and maths and suggest that young people now aren't as good at English and maths as they used to be. To my knowledge, there's no good evidence for this. Indeed, any evidence there is to the contrary. But what about all the other skills? What about computing skills? The young people of today, our graduates, are infinitely better at computing than we were. Communication skills. Well, it's often cited that this is about speaking to groups of 10 or 20 people. The young people of today are communicating with thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of people at any one time. Social networking, something which we really didn't do in olden days. And what about information retrieval? Our young people instantly can retrieve information from about almost anything, from many sources, in real time, something that my generation was entirely unable to do. Indeed, if I look at my own children, they can Skype, they can text, and they can listen to music all at the same time, something that we simply couldn't have done. What's more, the young people of today have had to pay, the young graduates of today have had to pay for their university education, and they will be coming out with significant debts, far more than those of my generation had to bear. And indeed, as a consequence of that, many of them, and I know that many of the graduates here today, will have had to take on part-time work during their university studies. It's been a much more difficult environment and climate for them than it was for us. So let me emphatically state and conclude that young people of today are actually much better than they were in my day, and very well done to all of you, a fantastic achievement. But we as a university, of course, have extraordinarily high expectations of our graduates. We have created, as a university, a set of attributes. Now, these are not simply the skills and knowledge that we expect our graduates to have associated with the particular area of study that they are working in. These are attributes, general attributes, that we would be proud if our students or graduates displayed. The first of those attributes is social responsibility. And of course we want them to pay their taxes, of course we do. We want them to obey the law and so on. We want them to vote in elections. But it's much more than that. We want the graduates from the University of Hertfordshire to look out for their neighbours. We want them to look after their families. We want them to embrace what you would call good citizenship. And I think that's fundamental to our graduates. Secondly, we want them to have respect for others. Now, for a university like Hertfordshire, where we have people from more than 100 different countries, many different religions, many different cultural backgrounds, it's deeply important to us that our graduates respect those with different cultural backgrounds. And I hope that the graduates today have been able to make friends, explore the cultural differences that they have with others, and I hope that they embrace those cultural differences in a true spirit of friendship. We, of course, want them to have learning and research skills. Learning skills because whatever we've been able to teach them during their time at the university will quickly be out of date. We want them to learn throughout their lives. Research skills because those are the skills which will allow our graduates to be problem solvers, the sort of things that employers want in their graduates. We want our graduates to have what I term intellectual flexibility. We want them to not simply be narrowly focused on their own subject matter, but those who have done the sciences, we want to embrace and enjoy theatre. We want them to enjoy literature. We want them to enjoy ballet, dance, and so on. And for those who have had a more creative education in the humanities, we want them to take part in the big debates about global warming, about the environment, about world poverty. So we want them to have that intellectual flexibility when they leave us from the University of Hertfordshire. And the last attribute which we have on our list relates to professionalism, and it's one which, of course, as a university which prides itself in being business-facing, we would like our graduates all to display a high level of professionalism when they go into whatever walk of life they choose to take up. There is one last attribute which we're looking at the moment, because we're just renewing our university strategic plan. One thing that we're conscious of is that whatever our graduates, after our graduates graduate from the university, we want the world to be their oyster, if I can put it like that. We want them to be global citizens. We want them to be able to seek employment anywhere in the world and adapt and embrace the environment in which they find themselves. And that, I hope, is something that we'll be able to ensure of our graduates. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would suggest to you that if our graduates can display those various attributes, they will make you proud, and I can suggest to you also that they will make us at the university extraordinarily proud of them indeed. Thank you very much. We shall now receive the graduates of the School of Creative Arts, and candidates are presented by a senior member of academic staff from their school. Awards, sponsorships and prizes that have been given in the final year of study will be read out prior to the graduate's name. And I first call upon Mr. Alex Baxter.
School of Creative Arts, Bachelor of Arts degree in Music and Entertainment Industry Management. Chris John Agnew.
Bachelor of Arts degree in Special Effects, Ross James Allen. Matthew Bartlett. Emily Jane England. With first class honours, Maxfield Joseph S. Hemmett. Eleanor Rachel O'Rourke. Melissa Louise Ray Pitts. Harriet Elizabeth Louise Pryor. Kimberly Nadine Senior. With first class honours, Shawnee Rebecca Vale. Boris Verbrugge. Giselle Marion Wood. Bachelor of Arts degree in Visual Effects.
That concludes the presentation of awards. I now have pleasure in calling upon Marjan Kalinaki to address the Assembly on behalf of the graduates.
Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for me to speak here today on behalf of my fellow graduates. Firstly, I wish to congratulate all who are celebrating today. It has surely been a difficult job, but we all rose to the challenge and reached the end that is going to be the beginning of a new life for all of us. The situation I find myself today was only a dream of mine 5 years ago. A dream that seemed almost impossible coming from a country where education is almost always beyond the bounds of possibility for those with physical disabilities. It was a massive step into the unknown, but I first moved to the UK to study at the University of Hertfordshire. I could not imagine how I would cope with the challenges of living in a new country and without the support of my family. However, I was lucky enough to enter a university where all students receive a tremendous amount of support and help, both from each other and from the university staff. Doubtlessly, there are other students in this room who have shared similar fears and with the help of the university staff have overcome their own personal barriers. There are many good memories of our time in Hertfordshire University, but for me particularly, one of my special moments was my first year living with my housemates in the halls of residence who gave me a great insight into the British culture. Basically, they were a bunch of crazy girls partying every night. Our university years will remain with us forever. They will be remembered as one of the most enlightening and enjoyable periods of our life. I would like to thank all our lecturers and staff who supported us through this journey and in the time of doubt and confusion showed us the light at the end of the tunnel. On behalf of all of us, I wish to express gratitude to all our families and relatives and friends for their help and support. Without their help and encouragement, we could never be here. Unfortunately, my family couldn't be here today, but I'm always grateful for all their support. And finally, my great thanks to the Vice Chancellor for receiving the graduates of the School of Creative Arts. Thanks.
Marjan, thank you very much for those very kind words. As we approach the end of the ceremony, it's only left for me to do the same thing, to thank first of all those who are behind me, the faculty of the university on behalf of the graduates for all the efforts they've put in over the last 3, perhaps 4 years to the education of our graduates, but in particular, and I'm looking in front of me now, at all the supporters, mums, dads, friends, relatives, and those who in one way or another have helped our graduates through their period at the university. I wonder if the graduates might join with me in giving them a very special thanks now. Thank you very much for all your help. And at the very end, it leaves me to congratulate our new graduates. And I'm quoting something that another graduate said to me. They came to the university as strangers, and they became, during their time at the university, friends. Now, Marjan, if you will allow me, can I suggest to you now that you're part of the family? Part of the family of the University of Hertfordshire, the alumni of the university. You will always be welcome in the university, and I hope that you all retain contact with the university. I particularly hope that some of you become immensely wealthy and then remember the university fondly. But I do genuinely mean that we do consider you part of our family now. I hope that if there are students from the university who are looking for placements in the future and you have the opportunity to give them placements, that you will take that opportunity. But whatever, you're part of the university, we're proud of you. Congratulations on a fantastic achievement for all of you. Very, very well done. And there will be refreshments available if you would like to adjourn to the St Albans Arena. But could I ask you now if you would mind being upstanding as the academic procession leaves the Abbey? Thank you.